this heaven?
No. It's Iowa.
All right, the Brothers Lane. I am pumped to talk Prey with you guys.
Stick around.
That doesn't make any sense. Where would I go? I'm here to record the pod.
I ain't got time to bleed.
I guess we're reciting Predator lines. That's from the original, though, and not Prey.
Time to let old Painless out of the bag.
Okay, now you're just going greatest hits of former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura?
Get to the chopper!
Are you guys done?
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Okay, well, that one actually fits both. So, but I guess, do you have any more, or have you run out of steam yet?
I'm gonna have me some fun and talk Prey on the Pot of Dreams.
Why do you want to hunt? Because you all think that I can't. I saw a sign in the sky. I'm ready. Maoy, Nita. There's something out there. I'm coming with you.
You can't.
I'm trying to protect you.
Protect me from what? It's time.
It knows how to hunt. I know how to survive. Whatever did this, I can kill it.
All right, if you listen, we will pod. Welcome to the Pod of Dreams. I'm Eric. We got Ben, as usual, and we're joined, a recurring guest, back by popular demand. Peter, my brother, is back on the podcast. Pete, thank you for joining.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me again.
So we're here to talk Prey, the new Predator movie on Hulu. I guess the reason I picked this movie is I was originally going to pick the original Predator because it's one of my all-time favorites, and I thought I'd ask Pete to join because it's a movie we watched a lot as kids. And then I watched Prey, and I was like, we got to talk this movie. So that's kind of my rationale. It's a new movie, just came out on Hulu, so if you haven't seen it yet, watch it. We're probably going to go through the whole thing. It's not really a spoilery kind of movie, but just fair warning.
It really isn't. It's high concept. I mean, going into it, I was pretty sure I knew how it was going to play out, and it did. I don't view that as a problem, by the way, but there aren't a lot of twists and turns throughout this thing.
But still, Pete, I asked you to watch this. Mm-hmm. Would you have watched it otherwise? Were you excited for this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I was already more or less planning on watching it. I wasn't super excited about it, and we can get more into kind of that part of it too. But yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to it mainly because it did seem different. You know what I mean? There've been a lot of Predator movies over the years, and really, I mean, honestly, ever since Predator 2, it's all been kind of pretty downhill, in my opinion. So yeah. So I mean, I was planning on watching it, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'm going to dive in. So you guys both love the original Predator. That's a movie. I don't know that I've ever sat and watched it beginning to end. I've seen the chunks and the bits.
That's
and pieces
offensive to me that you've never seen that
all
movie.
Over the place, but it's not a movie I ever sat down and said, here's the start, here's opening credits, watching it all the way through. And I definitely haven't seen, other than Prey, I haven't seen any of the other ones. Have you guys seen all the Predator movies? Are you Predator diehards, even though you just said you didn't like a lot of the other ones, Peter? Are you guys fans of the franchise overall?
So yeah, I mean, so like Eric mentioned, growing up, we watched Predator a lot.
A lot.
I can see that from talking to Eric. That sure.
I mean,
it's a movie up his alley.
I mean, it's one of those movies that I could probably recite off the top of my head all the way through. And but we also watched a lot of Predator 2, which is again it's a pretty different movie. But yeah, I've up until just a couple weeks ago, I've only seen Predator 1, 2, and I think I saw Predators, the one with Adrian Brody. But then I just
2010. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I watched Alien vs. Predator 1 and 2, and then The Predator, and then Prey. So
the 2018 one you haven't seen, Peter?
No, I've seen all of them now. Yeah.
Oh, so okay. So there's those 4 plus the Alien vs. Predator plus Prey. Okay.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen all of them. At least once. I did rewatch Predators. It sounds weird saying it like that. The Adrian Brody one. I did rewatch that over the weekend, and I rewatched the original. We don't need to talk about the original Predator too much, but like I think that's a perfect, literally a flawless movie. As far as action goes, Ben, I know you love Fury Road, and I think we'll talk about that a lot because I think that movie influenced Prey quite a bit. But I think Predator is literally the perfect example. It's like the plutonic ideal of an action movie as far as I'm concerned. And it does what I think Prey does really well, which is it doesn't even need the Predator. The first Predator movie works without the Predator completely. The Predator is the cherry on top of this sundae, because that movie's this awesome military basically mission that they have to go in and save with they think a rescue mission. It ends up being more than that, because of CIA bullshit. And then all of a sudden they encounter this alien that's hunting them, which is just an insane plot. And Prey is very similar to it. It's about this girl who's hunting in her tribe. She's trying to prove her worth. And then all of a sudden she comes on this alien that's hunting her. So I think both those movies do that premise really well, where it doesn't rely on the Predator, but the Predator adds so much to the story. I don't think the other movies do that well. I mean, Predator 2 works. It's okay. It's kind of funny, and it's ridiculous. But the other ones just, for whatever reason, they just kind of fall apart.
Okay, so I don't remember the first Predator well enough. I'll take your word for that. But I think I know what you're saying, because the background, the solid backbone of Prey is you have a really strong character setting, character arc. You have a woman who wants to prove herself as a hunter. In 1721 or whatever, and the characters are really compelling before we see the Predator, but we're rooting for the character, and there's just a real sense of time and place and setting that works really, really well before you get involved with the Predator. So
when the movie starts, I would watch a movie about this tribe. I think, have you seen the movie Apocalypto, either of you guys, the Mel Gibson movie?
I have, yeah. Sure.
I love that movie. It's just, you're just watching these native people and, the things they encounter. It's great. Revenant's a movie I love too. I know people don't love that movie so much, but I love that movie. And this movie reminded me of Revenant a lot too. I just find that world so interesting, and I think this movie jumps into it really well.
It does. I mean, if this were instead she's just hunting bears and mountain lions, or maybe encounters another tribe or something, that would still be really compelling and fun to watch. I mean, I think I'm with you on that.
Well, and one of the interesting things too that separates Prey from the first Predator movie and really any of the other Predator movies is where, well, I guess it's kind of similar to, well, I was going to say it was kind of similar to Predator 2, but I take that back. Is that Prey really is essentially a hero's journey story. It's about, someone out trying to prove their worth for themselves and for their tribe, and then, in the end, accomplishing that goal. Whereas the first Predator is really just more about these, showing that there are these guys who are the badasses, toughest.
That's right. They're SEALs, right? They're Navy SEAls.
The Navy SEAls, these guys are the elite of elite, right? Nothing can beat them. And then the movie is them just slowly getting picked off one by one to show you how powerful this creature is from outer space, right? So it's kind of this creature creature monster movie. And then Predator 2 is kind of somewhat similar, where Danny Glover is, but he's already established, like, he's this badass guy that's kind of just stuck in this situation where he, it's the urban jungle, right? So that's like kind of ties those two things. And then there's, the wonderful Gary Busey, who, should be in every movie, really.
Bill Paxton's insane in that movie too, right? Isn't he one of the cops?
Yeah. Well, I just watched it recently. He's kind of offensive in it. And like, it's Bill Paxton, so it's kind of hard to hate the guy, but they're a little bit sexist things, but
So you're saying a little antiquated, some of the stuff in Predator 2 that doesn't hold up so well. Again, I've not seen it, so I'll defer to the Brothers Lane.
So I guess since we're Pete, do you want to quick rank the Predator movies, since you've recently rewatched the Alien versus Predators? Do you have official rankings?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Predator, the first one, is the best, and I've I've always really liked Predator 2, and I just recently watched that again, and I still really like that movie for all its flaws and silliness, and but yeah, I'd probably put Prey maybe third, to be honest. I really enjoyed Prey, but I didn't feel it really did. It didn't do more than, like, I expected it to do more, I guess, like, with the idea. But then again, I don't know. It's still just a monster from space. So I
like how little they did with the idea. I liked how taut and tight and narrow the focus was. I don't care about the Predator lore. I don't want to know more about their planet. I don't care. Yep. Aliens coming and hunting, and I can kind of infer and make some guesses, right? It wants to show how tough it is. It lets some animals get some licks.
It's a monster. It's a monster.
But it's got a weird ethic, right? It does have its own moral code, so to speak. It doesn't just want to murder the weakest things. It wants to show how tough it is, and it, wants people to have weapons or whatever, and tries to use the least amount of technology it can to win, right? I mean, it fights the wolf barehanded, and it's trying to just be really tough and strong. It's fine. I don't need more. I don't care. I don't care about a war with the aliens. I don't care about how many there are. I've seen the shot from Predator 2 where there's like several of them becoming uncamouflaged. Like, I don't know. I didn't know what their motivation is.
We could talk about that scene because that's a direct tie into this movie. The
gun, right?
The gun, yeah.
I looked that up afterwards, which it was fine. But I liked how tight it was. It made me enjoy it a lot more because I don't care about the war. I'm not invested in Predators as a concept.
And that is usually, at least based off the movies that we've been given, that is when it works the best, is when you are given the least. You know nothing. All you know is just that there's this alien monster out there, and it's terrifying, and it's nearly invulnerable, and you have to just rely on your own wits to survive. So that's watching the other Alien versus Predator movies, and like Predators, I guess, is okay with Adrian Brody, that one, but that's just kind of more of a remake. But like, man, the Predator, complete garbage. So yeah.
And that is a one, right? I was gonna say that's a Shane Black.
Yeah, oh man,
his movie.
Yeah,
because he's in the original Predator, right? He didn't write the original one.
He gets credited as a script doctor, I think, or uncredited. Like, he did some tweaks to the script or something. Yeah. But
he's the first guy to die, right? In the first Predator.
Yep.
See, like I said, I rewatched Predators, the Adrian Brody one. Like, that movie does, I think what this movie does well, it just starts. Like, you're just there. Like, that movie starts with Adrian Brody just like falling from the air, and he just lands in this where he doesn't know where jungle. He doesn't know where he is.
They're just like in these boxes, right? That like just get parachuted in or something like that.
Yeah, he wakes up parachuting from the air, and then he lands, and all of these other people are there, and they don't know where they are. And eventually they walk to the like edge of the thing, and they can see there's like 3 moons and 2 suns, and they're like, oh, holy shit, we're not on Earth. Like, this is some planet. And it turns out they were just brought there by the Predators to hunt them. And that's when the movie kind of, I think, falls apart. But
that was stupid. Yeah.
But yeah,
like
this doesn't have any of that.
It doesn't have any of that.
We meet the character first. We occasionally get a little bit of hinting. We see the Predator gets dropped off. We see him murders a snake, a wolf. Eventually, they interact with the bear. And you don't need to know anything about it to get the thrill. I mean, it's 2 hunters squaring off. Ultimately, it's hunter versus hunter.
The bear scene, like, I really liked this movie, and then the bear scene happened, and I'm like, holy fucking shit. I fucking love this. Okay. Like, when that happens, he literally picks the bear up and blood just pours on him. It's incredible. I loved that scene, the whole part with the bear, because I actually thought it was really tense when she shoots the arrow. Like I said, I would watch a movie of just her hunting a bear for that to me would be an awesome movie. And then all of a sudden a predator gets up in the mix, and then it's off from there.
Well, and I did like too. They like you mentioned the hunting part. The predator is hunting. Like I like the build up to him hunting the bear. Essentially, like it's smaller, than the wolf, and then you know what I mean. So kind of established like it was learning along the way too,
working its way up the food chain.
I had that question. So that's what you're confirming it. You're led to believe that he's actually hunting the bear, right? Like because he's tracking it with her. She looks at the track. She's kind of following it because she wanted to kill the bear to prove her, where she didn't kill the mountain lion, even though she wounded it.
And she was hidden. Like that was her whole. Like she was hidden most of that whole sequence. Like she was never really out in the open. I think if I remember right. So.
And then after the predator kills the bear, then he starts hunting her, right?
Well, then he's not hunting. He doesn't start hunting her right away. But then there's the attack, like where the other members of the tribe, like attack him, right? And then isn't that the part where, like, soon thereafter, that's when he kills 5 or 6 of them or something. I think I could be mixing that up.
Well, so she escapes, and I don't think the predator is actively hunting her. She gets out of the beaver dam, right? Because she hides in the beaver dam to get away from the bear. She sees the predator. She
swims away.
Yeah, she swims away, and it doesn't seem to it sees her, but it doesn't start hunting. And then it goes, oh, there's something else to hunt, a different animal to hunt, human. And then he tracks the group. She gets, captured basically by her own tribe because they're like, you need to come back, by order of your brother or whatever. She fights the tribe, fails. She gets tied up, and then it starts to hunt that group.
And that scene is incredible too, where the rest of the Comanche, like, was there something there, and the guy shoots an arrow, and then you see it kind of reappear and just tear those guys apart. I think it's incredible. One of the criticisms I've read of this movie is like, and I think this is a stupid criticism, but it had me thinking a little bit that like, so this is a movie about like 100-pound girl taking out a predator. Like, is that a little? Like, okay, I think it's stupid because that's the point of the movie. That's the point of it.
So we see early on, she is disrespected because she has these other skills. She knows medicine, for example. She's really smart. It establishes early on that she knows she's great at tracking. She has all these other skills. They just don't think she can actually hunt. And we see her. She kind of hesitates. They're kind of right that she's a little anxious about pulling the trigger. She can't quite get the timing right.
But a lot of the time she gets interrupted, right? She's about to she would have killed the lion, and then she hears the predator, and then she falls, and, she still hits the lion with an arrow.
She does. She hesitates, but she's there. She kind of starts to overcome her fear. We see her slowly start to overcome her fear. She's smart that we see her with the hatchet, right? She's like, oh, if I put a rope to it, I can pull it back.
I love that scene. She started whipping it back and forth.
I can get more. She's smart, and she learns. She almost drowns in the quicksand or whatever, but she learns. She understands how to do that medicine that lowers your body temperature so that she can't be tracked. She sees and notices things that nobody else in the movie notices. And she uses her smarts, not her strengths. She doesn't beat the predator in a wrestling match. She doesn't punch his head off. She doesn't wrestle it or hardly ever deals it direct one-on-one combat.
There's a little bit of that in the end.
Little, sure.
Like when she jumps off the tree and whacks it, which is an incredible shot. I love that shot.
Surprises him though. I mean, she's using the terrain, her knowledge of the terrain to her advantage, and she's intelligent. She beats it with smarts, not so much with strength. I think the smarts are what matters. She learns the technology. She sees, oh, this is a tracking system. Those 3 dots, it's going to shoot it where those 3 dots are pointing. She understands better than anybody else. She's the first one that noticed that there's a predator. That's why she wins. That's why the movie works. And the predator seems to continually underestimate her. That's also part of it, just like her tribe underestimates. I mean, the writing is really taut and good. I mean, I think it all works. So I think that's if you're only a beefy Navy SEAL could beat a predator. Well, I disagree. And again, the predator has its own code of ethics. It's not just trying to kill. They could shoot us from space, if they just wanted to murder humans. It's about the game. It's about proving their dominance or getting trophies in a way that's fun. Some people would want to murder a lion that's tied down, but if you're a real hunter, you might want to hunt a lion and see if it might murder you, and that's part of the thrill and the excitement. Can you best a lion in a hunt or whatever, and that's what the Predator's doing. So anyway, that's why I loved it.
And I think it, like the series and the series needed that kind of a change, because as the movie's gone along, the suspense of the Predator has almost like completely dissipated. Like it's almost non-existent by I know I'm bringing up the Predator again, but like by that movie, it's just kind of silly. Like it's just this big silly thing walking around, and it's kind of funny. So what Prey did is it kind of rebooted all that, by giving it a female lead whose her whole journey of the movie is to learn, adapt, figure out, like her wits, her smarts are what gets her victory in the end. Like that really helped reboot the suspense that the first movie kind of established, is like that whole the fear of this monster coming after you, like where you have to rely on your wits and all that stuff. So it did a really good job of redoing all of that stuff, like recapturing that feeling of the first movie, and a lot of the cinematography and stuff too. Like Eric, you mentioned the bear, like some of the shots where it's like fog out, like the foggy shots and stuff like that, where she's captured. I mean, a lot of that really was really cool, like how they'd introduce the Predator and how he'd show up, like he just kind of appear and disappear, yeah.
So as more knowledgeable with Predator than me, does the Predator, is it unable to stop the clicking sound that it makes? That like insectoid sound, is it involuntary?
It's a good question.
It's a cool
I don't
sound.
think we can answer that.
Cool. It sounds cool, but I'm like, why is it making that sound?
In some of the movies, it can mimic a human voice. Like it can kind of learn to the laughing from the first one, ha 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 ha. Like it's like maybe mimicking nature when it does that. I don't know. Is that I can't explain why it makes that sound other than it sounds cool.
Okay.
Well, and what is the line the Predator mimics, like for not Dutch, but what is the line in the first movie where it's
when he stabs the scorpion?
Yeah, and he's like, I like
anytime, right?
But I think all I can think in Predator 2, I keep bringing up Predator 2. It's really an excellent movie, you guys. But anyways, no. In Predator 2, I want some candy. Like I remember, I always remember that part. Danny Glover's at a funeral. His partner just got killed by the Predator, and the Predator's like in the tree or whatever, and a kid walks up to the Predator, sees him, and he has like a little toy gun. So you think, oh, the Predator's going to kill the kid. But the kid goes to want some candy. And then it cuts to Danny Glover seeing the Predator, and the Predator repeats that line, but it's all creepy. And so, anyways, yeah.
Okay.
So, great dog stuff in this movie. I really liked the dog trope where she has her dog that runs around and helps her. I actually heard Trachtenberg, the director, talk about Mad Max. Road Warrior, with the dog, that was like a big influence on him when he made this movie. So yeah, great dog performance. It may not be CG and a lot of that, but I thought it was great.
I can't remember. Does the dog lives, right? Or does?
Yeah, okay. I believe so.
Yeah. Because it gets like the Predator hits it and then it kind of runs off. I couldn't remember kind of what happened at the very end, but I think the dog lives. So
I think people would hate the movie if the dog died. I think they would like it a lot less. It'd be pretty tough. But I mean, and there's this whole ethic of hunting that she and the Predator have this like bond, because then we get the French settlers, I think it's French, whatever country they were from, slaughtering the buffaloes. It's not overt. It's not the main point of the movie even, but they slaughtered all those buffaloes. They're exploiting the buffaloes. They're not really hunting them. It's not us versus a buffalo.
But isn't that don't the settlers and the Predator have that in common? That's what I was thinking. Are they trying to say that like that's kind of like what the Predator does? Because he just kills things and rips the skull out. He doesn't eat them. He's just killing it for sport, just like they were ripping off for the fur.
I see this the other way. I see that the two hunters respected each other, and she understood Predator because he was a hunter. They couldn't understand Predator because they saw him as either an animal or just another like capitalistic sort of thing, because they they weren't hunting for sport. They were taking whatever they needed to take from a buffalo to sell, the pelts or whatever. I don't know what was most
Just
valuable.
like the predators get the skull from the wolf. He doesn't
It's a question
want
of
it.
trophy. So the capitalists aren't taking those there and hanging them at their house and saying, look at all these buffalo you killed. They're going to sell them. Whereas I don't think the predators are selling the skulls. These are personal trophies. They're like a hunter who wants to bring them back to their room and say,
maybe there's
look at
like
all these animals that I murdered.
a big market on the predator planet where they sell
Maybe.
the skulls.
I read that a different way. I mean, I view it as the hunter's bond. She understands him, and he kind of understands her.
How do the predators make money? Do they?
These are questions I don't ever want answered. I don't care.
One human skull is worth 10 schmeckles. That's
Probably. Yeah. They have these really nice spaceships. Who pays for that stuff?
the
Yeah, I
government.
don't care.
The queen predator sending them off on their journey.
I guess I assume it's some rite of passage, Klingon sort of thing, where you have to go to a foreign planet. And
I also
bunch of
saw
animals.
something that I thought was kind of funny. Is like, all right, so is this the first time predators come to Earth? Like, is that, we don't know that. I suppose that's an unanswered question.
I hope
But, like,
not.
this predator gets his ass kicked, and then they send more predators, and those predators get their ass kicked. Like, why do they keep sending these fucking predators to Earth? They just keep getting killed. Like,
I
just
assume that
stop.
there are several that succeed, and we just don't see them because people just don't want to see a movie where a predator comes and murders all the people and leaves. But to me, this is the way. I want more of this kind of movie. Give me, ancient Romans, and they're like, oh, it's the god of Mars sent to test us for our military might. Give me a black battalion in the Civil War having to fight a predator. I mean, pick an era of history, give me a predator, set it in that era of history. That's what I want. Those are the movies I want to see.
Feudal Japan, make it happen.
Sure, yes.
Samurais? Fuck yeah.
A disgraced
Yes.
samurai has
That's
to prove his worth by defeating a predator.
You
Yes.
basically make 7 samurai and throw a fucking predator in it.
Yeah, throw some ninja.
Sure.
You got your movie, man.
Pick
You
it.
got one ninja guy who was like super good, faces off against the predator by himself. Obviously, he loses. He can't win because the samurai has to win, obviously. But
Well, sure.
yeah, it happened.
No, that's those are what I want to see. Give me a different director. I mean, if Dan Trachtenberg wants to come back, fine. But I like the idea of like just give it to a different director. Let's Mission Impossible this. Pick an era of history. Write a nice tight script, and you're off. Give me the next Predator movie.
Trachtenberg's kind of an interesting. So he's only ever directed one other movie, that 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I think didn't that also go straight to streaming? Was it like a Netflix movie?
Was that
I don't
in
think
the
that was-
Cloverfield like
Yeah.
giant monster universe thing?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just I can't remember the actor's name. The woman from Scott Pilgrim. She's just like kidnapped by who's the guy that who is it? John Goodman. John Goodman kidnaps her, and they're in a bunker and hiding out, and he keeps telling them there's a monster like destroying the planet, and they don't believe him, and she ends up getting out, and there is a monster. But yeah, it's the Cloverfield monster. But it's mostly just like a kidnap movie. There's this woman that's been kidnapped, and I liked it. It was pretty good. But he hasn't made another movie before or after, and then until he made this. I think this movie is really well made. Like,
No,
that
it's
was the
ex-
thing
it's
that I was
excellent.
blown away
There's
with.
no fat on it. It's like an hour 40, and it just gets right into it. It's
The action is incredible. I think the
Super well
like
done.
fighting, the predator fighting action. There's also a video going out of like the practical mask of like the guy in the mask and what he looked like, and they did enhance it a bit with CG, but like it looks really cool, like the practical version of the predator.
yeah. I thought the effects were. I mean, there were times where it seemed to lean a little bit more CGI with like the animals, and I just don't.
Yeah,
didn't
the
love
bear
that.
was full CG. Yeah.
It didn't like you like that scene, but to me,
I loved
CG
it.
took me way out of it. So it was less cool.
The part where the bear was like running through the water, that looked a bit iffy, but that's always hard. CGI animal.
Yeah, there's no other way to do it. But
water.
But that's another thing. Like, this movie, why wasn't it in the movie theater? Like, this would have been a cool movie theater movie. Instead, I mean, I have a nice setup at home, but like, it would have been a lot cooler in the theater.
sure.
It's just kind of an odd thing.
But didn't they say like this was Hulu's biggest movie ever? or
Oh
something?
yeah, they're the most streams they've ever had from a movie. So and the conversation is like we're talking about it, and we obviously set the tone of the world when we talk about a movie.
Yeah, a great central performance too by the Mid Thunder. Did I say her
I think
last
so.
name? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's great. I mean, everybody's right. It was excellent, and it is.
I did rewatch a bit of the Comanche version. So on Hulu, you can select the extras, and it's like a version where they just speak Comanche. It doesn't work because it's clearly dubbed over the English version, it just didn't work for me. But I like the idea. They didn't have to do that. I like the idea that they tried that.
Sure, because actually in Comanche I would have liked it better if the whole thing was subtitled.
The movie starts and she's speaking in Comanche, and then it's like we switch over to English for your benefit, as an audience. Because
there are times where they say words that I'm like, okay, there would have been a different way to say this in Comanche that didn't quite land. Like this feels a little too modern, but
otherwise known as the Red October, Hunt for Red October effect.
Oh,
or the 13th Warrior effect. I listened.
Eric, we talked about this. There is no mentioning of the 13th Warrior anymore. We've
I fucking love that movie.
Is that Antonio Banderas?
Yes.
Who plays isn't he Arabic or something?
Yeah, yep. John McTiernan, right? Who also directed the first Predator.
And Die Hard.
And Die Hard, yeah.
Look at that connection right there.
Yeah.
Mike.
So I mean, here, since we're all kind of on the love train here for Prey, and I'm running out of superlatives. You said Predator is the platonic ideal of an action movie. Is it better than Die Hard, the first one?
Yeah, that's like apples and oranges a bit.
Don't make me pick between my kids, Ben.
Okay. I just want to know how much you'd go to bat for Predator.
They're both highly watchable movies. Like,
sure,
they're movies that are just, they don't get old. You know what I mean?
Back to back years, that guy made those two movies.
Yeah,
incredible. Yeah, God, Predator's a movie I want to sit and watch the whole thing. Whereas like Die Hard, it's a movie I could just have on and just pop in and pop out, and I'm fine with that. I don't know if that makes me like one more over the other. They're both perfect.
Okay.
I also want to add though that John McTiernan also directed Rollerball, the 2002 movie, starring LL Cool J. That has no reference to anything other than John McTiernan directed that terrible movie. So
never seen it.
Yeah, I don't know what he did that was good after Die Hard with a Vengeance. I mean, if you find something on his
Rollerball, that's what I'm getting at.
Can we get Trachtenberg maybe a Marvel movie? Can we get him to do?
Give him something better than a Marvel movie. If you want somebody to actually be a good director, why give them a Marvel movie? Why?
Because we need some better Marvel movies.
That's not a choice. It doesn't matter how good of a director you are. You don't have a choice. It has to go through the Marvel machine. Any of your personality is going to get ironed out. Maybe little bits will seep through. Maybe a little bit. That's it. Come on. Let's not force people to do this.
What did they do with a Predator movie? They just let him cook? They let him do whatever he wanted?
This looks like a movie that is exactly the movie somebody wanted to make to me.
Actually,
it wasn't compromised at all.
He had pitched a movie like this, and a movie set with Native Americans, and then somehow he got involved in like pitching Predator, and he just sort of took that story and was like, I'll just throw a Predator in it. I think that's the way to do it, is like you need a great movie and then you just need a Predator. Like, yeah, that's it. That's
time in history. A pirate Predator. Somebody on
Marvel movie with the Predator. Let's do it. Fantastic Four, throw in a Predator.
PG-13 Predator, no violence.
It's got to be rated R.
Well, then it's not going to be Marvel then.
Are you saying Apocalypse Now needed Predator in it?
Yes. Godfather, throw a Predator in
it. So anyways, we're talking about Rollerball, right?
So yeah, we mentioned the pistol bit. So she gets taught how to shoot a gun by one of the French guys who got his leg chopped off, right? And he teaches her how to shoot this pistol, and it ends up being like she use it to shoot his helmet off? That's how she uses the pistol.
Yeah, so he loses some of his technological advantage.
And then she realized that the helmet was the guiding system for the laser thing, and she kind of tricks it and has it hit him. But so in Predator 2, which is Pete's all-time favorite movie, sure. At the end of the movie when Danny Glover, after he kills the Predator, all of the other Predators reveal themselves, and then they kind of take the dead one off. It chucks him the pistol, and it's supposed to be the same pistol. I think even the engraving is the same on it. I think that's kind of a nice little touch.
How did they get it back?
It's a good question.
Because she has it, right? Or
Maybe
No,
they come back and kill her.
Yeah, it's going to be Prey 2. It's going to be all about the pistol in Prey 2. That's going to be the MacGuffin. But yeah, it doesn't because she doesn't hold on to it. I think she give it to somebody or something.
she gives it to like her parents. I thought like she presents it to her parents like this is coming, and there's this aura of doom at the end, which I really like. I mean, it's 1721. We know what's coming for the native people over the next couple hundred years, and even though she's a badass, I mean, these people are badasses.
Apocalypto does that really well
and the
too.
smallpox are coming over,
Yeah.
and they're about to. I mean,
wipe them out.
it's sad. It's really sad, right? I mean, there's despite the fact that she does this awesome thing.
Well, Christopher Columbus has already been there, right? I mean, we're well past that.
Yeah, but like the 1776, like all that's. I mean, that's all.
They're going to start moving west
that's a
pretty
declaration
aggressively in the next 100 years. You know, this is
Do we
some of the
know
Great
where
Plains.
this is supposed to be?
So, Great Plains, I see in the Midwest somewhere. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody who understands what Great Plains means in 1721, but
Yeah, I think
assume
it. I forget. Yeah, I'd have to. But it's the Comanche. That's the tribe or the group or whatever.
They were in Missouri or whatever
Sure, that
part
would-
of Iowa. Maybe this takes place in Iowa.
could be Kansas. Here, I'm going to use my computer to sound less ignorant. But
But
for
they
a while
would have
it's-
known who white people were. I mean, it's not like this is the first time they've seen white
right,
people.
but they're about to just be dwindled and forced to go to specific areas
Sure.
where white people tell them they get to leave, and much of their history is going to be wiped out and eradicated. That part,
Yeah,
hasn't
the
happened
Trail
yet.
of Tears is coming.
And they can keep going west for a while. Eventually, that's just not going to happen. Once the American Revolution, and then people just start needing more and more territories, is just going to be oh, here it is.
Maybe you're living right now where the Predator fought the Comanches.
No, so it's not me. In the 18th and 19th century, Comanches lived in most of present-day northwestern Texas and adjacent areas in eastern New Mexico, southeastern Colorado, southwestern Kansas, western Oklahoma, and northern
Oklahoma. That's okay.
So that's where it is. And for a while, they're like she's going to be able to live a full life and die, but her grandkids or whatever are going to be screwed. That's to me that anyway. I like that this historical weight is added to all the Predator stuff. That's there. It's not overt. It's not the point necessarily, but it still hangs like an ominous cloud over the movie. So anyway, that's another reason why I like it. Sorry.
Well, should we move on and just give a rating? You give just a number value to how you liked this movie? Pete, as the guest, would you like to jump in?
Sure. So what's the rating out of again? It's
Five stars.
five human skulls out of.
Five Predator skulls.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd give it a full 5. I mean, again, I did really enjoy it, and like I said, I mean, it's a nice breath of fresh air for the franchise, and boy, is it so much better than the Predator, which was the last one.
Say your bit about the Predator. What was wasn't there a funny bit in the Predator?
Yeah, so it's so dumb. Like, so in the Predator, right? Besides the complete childish dialogue and the nonsensical plot and the completely boring protagonist.
Wasn't there some sort of? Weren't they trying to take the genes from the Predator or something like that?
Yeah, something like. Well,
So I looked up the plot of this and I got confused. So I'm probably not getting all, but on Wikipedia, the Predators wanted our genes.
Okay.
And because this is the most recent one, like, and because of global warming, they're going to start losing the ability to access humans. So they have to try to get our genes. And I saw there's like 3 different kinds of predators.
and there's like a super Predator in it.
There's all this stuff that, again, I don't care about. This is all crap. I don't care. It's not interesting to me.
Well, and the global warming thing is so just so dumb. But and like the protagonist kid has like autism or something, and that kind of like
Oh yeah, there's a big kid bit in that. Yeah, that's right.
ends the day is because his kid has autism or something. It's like highly offensive. And there's like Tourette's jokes and there's mental health jokes. Anyways, it's garbage. But the part that had me on the floor was the Predator like jumps into the back of a truck where there's like a soldier, right? And then there's a soldier driving the truck. So the Predator like kills the soldier in the back of the truck. And so the driver's like, "Hey, Tommy, are you okay back there?" And the Predator grabs the dead soldier's hand and like, puts it in through the window so the driver can see it. And the hand has like the thumbs up. And then the driver's like, "Hey man, that's all right. You're looking good." And then so it's like this comedy bit in your Predator movie. And it's so awkward and so stupid. So, but my joke is like, so on the Predator planet, are there like stand-up comedian predators who failed at being a comic, and so they go into the hunting business? And that was the stand-up comic Predator that that failed his bit.
Do you think he was like, "Do I do a middle finger?" Oh, no,
yeah.
I'll go
I like
with the
how having
thumbs
enough
up.
cultural understanding to know a thumbs up is the way you like, show approval.
Well, and so then in my mind, I'm picturing it's like, so is a Predator sitting in the back of the truck laughing? Like, so I picture a Predator like chuckling and
this fucking guy.
But why didn't it just kill the guy and drive the truck? Is it not able to drive? But okay,
it's beyond.
It's got those meaty hands. It can't use a steering wheel with those big meaty Predator hands.
Or maybe Predator just needed a rest. He was tired. He was like, "Hey, I'll have this guy chauffeur me to my next destination." So, anyways, that movie is garbage. But
so it sounds like before this one, each Predator movie's gotten worse than the one before.
It did.
Predator 2.
Yeah. So quick rundown. So I didn't completely hate Alien versus Predator. It's not
There's two of them, right?
There's two of them. But
Requiem is one of them, right? There's a Requiem.
There's one that's PG-13 and really sucks, and then there's one that's rated R, and the rated R one is like, okay, that's at least closer to what people want.
So yeah, Alien versus Predator is PG-13, which is directed by Paul the guy who
W.S. Anderson? Yeah, Paul W.S. Anderson. Yep, sure.
But it's PG-13, and it's actually, it's not really terrible. It's not really good either. But again,
all that guy's movies are in that. It's not terrible, but it's not very good.
But the main character it's a female scientist. She's not completely helpless throughout the whole movie. She uses her brain and wits to kind of get through it, and it has Lance Harkinson, so that's a positive as usual. But then Alien vs Predator Requiem or whatever that is, terrible, just boring and stupid, and it's really just like a teen drama movie with a predator in it. So anyways, and then there's the Predators, which we talked a little bit about, and then the Predator, and then Prey. So anyways, long story short, I give Prey 4 stars.
Okay, I'll bump that up a half a Predator skull. I'd like 4.5. I can't quite go 5 stars just for no particular reason. I just didn't like it. Wasn't transcendently good, I guess, and I didn't love some of the CGI shots. They just weren't lovely. But otherwise, this is a movie that's in some ways high concept, but it's just so well executed. It absolutely does what you expect the movie to do in a way that's good. It's not a problem that it's mostly predictable. It's just executed at such a precise level, and it doesn't waste time with superfluous crap. Like, there's just none of it. Everything's there, and you're with the character straight up from the beginning. You understand what she's going to, what her goals are. There's a narrative arc. The script is really, really good. The action is excellent. It's really, really fun. The setting, it works all works really, really well. So that's me. 4.5 stars. What about you?
I give it 4.5 because the Predator punched a bear in the face and then lifted it over while blood drained on top of it. So that's 4.5 stars for me.
Okay.
Okay, should we quick do our 5 degrees of Field of Dreams, Ben?
Let's do it.
Sure. Peter, he likes this bit too much. He didn't want to participate. He wants to just listen. So,
thanks for sparing me because I did not prepare.
I'll start. This is actually kind of hard because there isn't like any sort of famous actors in this movie at all.
Most of them are very first time. Like Dakota Beavers is the older brother, and he's like got no credits whatsoever.
I think Mid-Thunder's she's probably going to be in a bunch of stuff now. I assume she's going to be
a vehicle for stardom. I would assume so. Yeah. Yes.
But I picked a guy named Mike Patterson. He's the big guy with the beard, the big French dude with the beard. He's like the main French guy. He was in a movie Punisher Warzone. I don't remember this movie. Did you see this, Pete?
I have seen.
It's actually really, really fun. I mean, it's kind of dumb. but it's knowingly dumb and it's knowingly fun.
Yeah, it's surprising. It's surprisingly not bad. Like it's not a masterpiece.
They haven't made a good Punisher movie, have they?
I would call this a good Punisher movie.
Okay. I need to see it then. I haven't seen it.
I wouldn't ever be. I mean, to me, it's as good as you could make a Punisher movie. Punisher's a concept that is really boring to me and not that interesting because they don't really want to deconstruct Punisher. They just want to show him murdering scumbags.
The Netflix show was okay. It was a Netflix show. It's all right.
I didn't see this, but it's got I don't even remember the main guy is an actor. I don't even know, but like the villain is the guy from The Wire. The main white
McNulty.
Yeah, there we go. And he's very, very camp and silly and nonsensical. It's not quite like Tim Burton Batman, but it's in this kind of like unreal space.
Is it R-rated?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's very violent in a cartoonish, fun, silly way.
It is kind of really violent in a way. Yeah, it's
very violent. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's not boring. You won't be bored by it.
Okay.
You may not love it. You won't be like, this is really dull.
Well, Wayne Knight is in that movie, Newman, apparently.
Yep. Okay, he is. He's the gun. He's the arms dealer for Punisher. He helps get him a bunch of weapons. All the crazy weapons he uses. Yep.
He's in JFK. Laurie Metcalf is in JFK as well. She's in Uncle Buck, one of Ben's favorites.
It's great.
And Gabby Hoffman and the wife from Field of Dreams, they're both in that. I know Uncle Buck.
Oh yeah, she's Buck's girlfriend. Gotcha. Well, so interestingly enough, Eric, so I went with Amber Midthunder because she does have some credits. She has got a small role in Hell or High Water.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was my first trip out, Hell or High Water, and a guy named Ben Foster's in that movie. And he's in a much worse Punisher movie, the 2004 one with John Travolta. I mean, that movie is so terrible. That movie has like no redeeming traits whatsoever.
We both went with a different Punisher movie. That's funny.
Yeah. But John Travolta's the bad guy in it. Again, he's terrible. You and I disagree on how good of a actor John Travolta is, but he's definitely bad in Punisher. I don't think you'd watch Punisher and say, wow, that guy did a great job. But he's in Pulp Fiction with the big brains on Brett. Who's in Field of Dreams. That's my route.
Pete, anything else you want to say about Prey before Ben reveals what movie we're doing next week?
No, I think we got it pretty much covered. Yeah. Unless you want to talk about Rollerball, but
what would your move be against a predator? Predator shows up, you're out watering your lawn, and he shows up and he's just the clicking sound. What's your move? Do you just like say don't kill me? You run? Do you say kill me now? Like what are you going with?
With a weird accent that nobody understands?
You might know it.
Kill me now.
Outside of running out of complete fear, I guess if I didn't have a weapon on me, he technically wouldn't fight me, right?
I would try to look as weak and pathetic as possible because he wants a challenge, right? He doesn't want to just go like punch a baby. He wants to have an actual fight, not somebody can fight back. So I just try to look weak and meek. What are you going to do? Eric, you're tough. Obviously, you would just punch the predator. The predator's head would explode.
Well, we know the predator doesn't do well with traps. So you could start setting traps.
So you're so worried about a predator that you're just setting random traps in your backyard.
I think I might start it.
Don't go to Eric's house, Ben. Whatever you do, don't go.
I feel bad for his kids. Hopefully nobody's sleeping over. Jeez.
I wouldn't know the first thing in making a trap. So.
I know. It's not a very useful skill if a predator shows up. Oh, hey, can you give me a few weeks here and I'm going to set some traps?
Time out. I got to lift some boulders.
Pause. Yeah. I need a training montage. No, what are you going to do if you're not an actual fighter, or even if you are, you try to look as...
Mud. You got to find mud. You're good if you just cover yourself in mud.
It's true.
Or find that flower that will make you look like you're, not alive. I don't know what that was, actually, but... I'd handle being cold for a while. That's fine. I just shiver for however long that lasts. But yeah, that's the only option if you're an actual person, not a fictional movie character. Yeah.
I would just give the predator your address, Eric.
Oh, here's a real tough guy. He's so strong.
Let me text it to you. Go. Here's your directions.
Here's an alpha male for you to fight. All right. Well,
I'll just give him some coffee.
Hey, you want to watch some Predator movies, Predator? You can see some of your buddies get murdered. You see how that went for them? Yeah. Not good options. Well, are you guys ready to try and guess the next movie?
Let's do it.
All right, Peter, jump in whenever you want. I made a very last second change because I saw this movie was leaving Netflix the end of August, so I switched my from the last.
Gray Man. We're doing Gray Man. Oh wait, no, that just came out.
No, that'll be on Netflix forever, I think.
Is it like a newer movie or older movie?
We'll see. So I'll start with the first clue is 1983 is when it was released.
And it's leaving Netflix,
Yes.
which probably does not help.
I mean, it's enough to narrow down. I'm going to move on to clue number 2.
It came out in 1983.
Correct.
Okay.
Uncle Buck.
It's not Uncle Buck. Maybe someday. This movie made $21 million at the box office in 1983, which I'm sure will really help you guys.
So not super popular.
Yeah, not a giant hit.
Nope, it's not a giant hit.
But in '83, that's a decent chunk of money.
It made a little bit of money. It was it was a net positive, but it was not a big hit.
Well, right. Sorry, just pumped. Would Prey have been a big hit box office if it had come out in the theater?
Yes.
You think?
Yes, it would have made money. Yes.
Okay.
What?
Sorry, continue.
Cost a ton to make either, because there wasn't, you know what I mean? There's special effects and whatnot, but I would bet it didn't cost more than probably like $150 million to make.
No, yeah, I bet it would have been positive. I don't know if it would have done Top Gun Maverick levels, but it would have.
Seriously, guys, who would have thought that?
They just made that movie really great. I don't know. It was way better than I would ever expect the sequel to Top Gun to be. But the star of this movie, third clue, is a fella named Keith Gordon.
I got nothing.
Keith Gordon?
Yeah. Not a real popular household name. Didn't think that would help. The next two are going to get a lot more helpful, I think.
He's the star of the movie?
Yeah, he's the lead.
Gleaming the Cube. No, it's Christian Slater.
Is it Masters of the Universe?
No, that's Dolph Lundgren is the star.
Oh, is it?
Courtney
Okay.
Cox is in it. That's later. I think that's like 88 or 89. But I'd love to talk about Masters of the Universe.
I've never seen it.
That idea. It's pretty crazy. They make a lot of bold choices in it, Eric. I don't think you'd love it, but there's a lot of questionable decisions. Clue number 4. This is based off of a Stephen King book. It's an adaptation of, well, maybe not a book. It's at least adapted from a Stephen King story.
I love I read almost always reading a Stephen King book now. I love a Stephen King.
You said you love a Stephen King?
Stephen King book, yeah. Stephen King story.
What'd you say, Peter?
It's Christine, is it?
It is Christine.
Ha! Good old Carpenter. John Carpenter.
Yep, that was it. I literally typed in John Carpenter, and there were 2 movies on Netflix. Vampires, which I had no interest in watching, and then Christine, which is...
Oh, Vampires. Numbingly boring.
Yeah,
I liked Vampires. What are you talking about? Yeah, Vampires is great.
God, I guess it's not so bad. It's too much James Woods.
It is. It is too much James Woods.
I remember liking it as a kid, but I've not heard anybody... You just said more praise for Vampires than I've heard anybody ever utter.
I like that movie. But excited to watch John Carpenter, because he hasn't made a movie that I didn't like.
Did you see Ghosts of Mars?
I haven't. No, I probably did see that. Isn't Ice Cube in that?
Yeah.
I think so.
A lot of Ice Cube in that movie too. Yeah. I guess
late period.
He gets
Carpenter.
bad, and I think he just gets tired and stops caring so much. But I've never seen Christine. I've got a lot of gaps of John Carpenter. I've seen a lot of his stuff too, but that's one I haven't seen. Have you seen Christine, Eric?
Oh yeah, I own it. I bought it. Early in the pandemic, I bought it.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Well, I haven't seen Christine, so I can rewatch it.
I haven't read the book. That's one of his books I haven't read.
Okay.
The Killer Car is what a great concept.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the execution. I mean, looking forward to watching it and talking about it.
Well, okay, Pete. Thanks for joining. It was a real pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was fun.
Oh, it's a blast. Yes, thanks for hopping on.
It's a real nasty habit you got there. Another
Eric,
predator.
you are one ugly motherfucker.
Eric, I think you should recite the joke in the helicopter in the beginning.
Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. The slack jaw? No. I'm not saying that. The Jesse Ventura. His lines have not aged great from the original Predator.
And what a great vehicle for future governors, Predator. You got 2 future governors in one movie. Amazing.
Yeah. And one, uses a giant minigun to mow down a small village, which, if that's not a metaphor for running, for governor and being in the government, I don't know what is.
Is that Jesse Ventura's character that does that?
Well,
Yeah.
he technically doesn't use the minigun.
Well, yeah, he does in the beginning, but
Yeah.
It doesn't. I exaggerated. I'm sorry. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't mow down the entire village.
It's Bill Duke, right? Bill Duke's the one that mows down the forest with the minigun. But
yeah, Ventura gets killed, and then because he sees the Predator. That's the famous scene where it's like the eyes flash yellow.
Yeah.
And then he just like grabs and goes, "Row!" And just mows. Then they all start shooting and take down like half of a jungle. Which I always wondered, they must have literally done that, because
I just watched that movie. I have no idea how they did that.
Yeah. Unless they like shipped in already dead plants and just fell them for the scene.
Are you suggesting they just had real guns and just shot guns into the woods?
Hey man, I don't know. It's a great scene nonetheless, but it's one of those things like I don't want to know how they made the sausage. I think it's just, it's better left unknown. But yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, man. Take it easy.